I'm talking to you today from Denali Education Center in Denali Village in Alaska. And besides for that, I'm beside myself with amazement that I'm actually in Alaska, because it is so far away from the lower 48, as they refer to the rest of our country up here. The famed beauty of Alaska is no mere fable. It is true. I remember before I went to Nevada, somebody said, "Oh, you're going to Las Vegas, America's playground." Well, I had a great time in Las Vegas, and there's no question there's a lot of play that goes on in Las Vegas. But I have to say, Alaska is really America's playground. In Alaska, you can hunt, you can fish, you can ski, you can hike, you can raft, and you can do it all in one day. And we're talking about a state that is easily a third the size of the rest of the 48 contiguous put together. I'm in Denali National Park, which I believe Jody, who I just interviewed, said to me was the size of Massachusetts, just the park. And it's a tremendous, tremendous state. But what has moved me here so much has been the people. So many of the people that I've met are transplants. They came from somewhere else. They came out to get a master's degree, to visit a friend, to have a summer, and never left. And they never left because of the unbelievable beauty and opportunity here. But when I met with some of the people who were born here, who were raised here, who maybe moved here under adverse conditions, getting away from tough life experiences, I found that their commitment to helping the people here is so tremendous and so awe-inspiring. The youth that I met, the youth who were born here, who go to school here, face some very significant challenges. We're talking about a state where I was told there's a 60% dropout rate in high school, and the suicide rate among teens is astronomical. And so much work is yet to be done here. And the people that I've met are doing this work outside of the normal systems. The normal systems don't yet provide for what these students need. And what I heard over and over and over again is the systems that are out there that are being put into place are being formed without the input of children. And those people whom I've had the opportunity to interview are doing all of their work with the input of children. They understand that asking the children what it is that they want, what it is that they need, is how they will figure out the best way to provide them with those things that they need. Many of these kids, many of these adults who are working with these kids have had needs of their own and understand that those needs weren't fulfilled, and understand that the lack of anything to do is what gets kids into a point where they make poor decisions. So bringing these kids together and saying, hey, what is it that you need? And then forming those options has really been at the forefront of a lot of the people whom I've met here in Alaska. I met Eldon Jones, as I wrote about in my blog, and he started a program called Kids Kitchen, where he had this dream, and it was God came to him in a dream, and he woke up the next morning in tears and prayer, and God said to him, feed the kids. And he didn't even know what that meant, but he went to the grocery store and he bought food, and he started making dinner and bringing it down to the rec center, and finding out that, the kids were hungry. The kids didn't have other options for dinner, and if they were going to have dinner, they were scouring for it on their own because their parents weren't around. And Elgin, I asked him, what do you think is the problem? Why are kids in Alaska, why do they have it so tough? And he said something that really amazed me. He said it is because we are so far away from the rest of the 48 states that they feel displaced. And it was fascinating. It never occurred to me that being so far away from the rest of America, when you drive around Alaska and you come into some towns like Anchorage and Wasilla, and you have Starbucks and Walmart and Target and Chili's, and it's no different. It's anywhere USA. But there is this feeling of being isolated and so far away. And I wish that there was some way that we could make airfare more accessible to Alaska. It's one of our states. We should be coming to visit it. It is our responsibility to make sure that these kids have the same experiences and the same options and the same arms that are put around them that the rest of our kids in the lower 48 have. It doesn't mean that the kids in the lower 48 don't have their own problems. We do. And I have been so fortunate to meet people who are really actively out there saying we can make a difference for the kids. But it seems so dire here. It seems that the need is so great. And I wish there were a way to connect us as a country more fully. Yes, we are far away from Alaska in the lower 48, but this is an unbelievable state, and it's ours. And it's only 50 years old. I was thinking about that too on my drive this morning from Talkeetna to Denali. 50 years since statehood for Alaska. Can you imagine what 50 years since statehood for Pennsylvania meant? Where was Pennsylvania 50 years after it became a state? Where was South Dakota 50 years after it became a state, or Colorado? What were the things that we were still learning? And yes, times are much different now, technology being what it is, and access to the internet and information age, etc., etc. But they are a young state, Alaska, and at 50 years old are still figuring it out. And I feel like we should all kind of come on over and take a peek and understand and dig our hands in and get them dirty, not only in the unbelievable fish that you can fish here, but go to Kids Kitchen at the Fairview Rec Center and meet Elgin and serve a meal and understand that Alaska's children are our children too.